Good.
Alright. So today we're working on Hiori no Kata, which is an Aiki Jiu-Jitsu technique reversal form. It's going to have the structure of there's a technique, we're going to reverse that technique. So the way that we're going to work on it is we're going to go to full execution of the technique, and when there's a throw, we're going to do a throw. We're going to go ahead and finish out the technique, and then we're going to back up and say, okay, if I was having this done to me, this is where I would start my reversal. Because the time to try and reverse somebody throwing you is not when you're in the air. I think we can all agree on that. The time to reverse it is you sort of see where they're going and you decide to take action before it actually happens. So the first part of this, where we start the form, is really about movement. All right, the formalized version is he comes up and grabs both lapels, puts them together. He's going to take a swing at it. All right, he's coming right here. Now we're working on movement with this first part because we want to think in Hapkido, a lot of that circle principle. We want to be able to blend, right? So in practice, don't worry about the grab. He's just swinging. I want to blend here. The idea with this movement. Should I change angle? Is everybody okay? We're good. The idea with this movement is if I stand right here and I catch it, I probably ate most of this. It probably actually hit me in the face. At the very least, my arm ate most, because this is the apex of his energy, right? If I want to drive in or I want to disrupt the motion that he's on where he expects me to be, that works. But if I stand just right here, it doesn't. Or I might stop him, but it's going to hurt at the very least. So what I'm actually doing is I'm taking a 90-degree step to take my head around the outside of the circle that he's forming with his strike, right? So when he strikes, I'm over here. By moving there, I'm not suggesting drop your guard, by the way, but even if I didn't have my guard up, by moving there, it's past that apex of energy. And so when it makes contact, it's not going to have the same umph as if I were standing right here. Again, don't drop your guard. But if you happen to, that is still a viable principle. So I'm stepping 90 degrees and trying to take my head the outside of this circle. Both hands are going to come up, right? Distraction strike here, meet the attack. Sweep it down. So the step looks like this, to right here. 3, 2, 1. To right here. All right? If we're doing less, this is a very controlled environment. If it's more like somebody throwing a hooking punch, I can change the dynamic, but it has that same, I'm circling, right? How close do I make that circle? That's variable. I got to tailor it to the situation. The general principle, though, is I want to circle and then take that attack, adding on to what he's giving me, and bring it in front. All right, so that's the first part. Everybody find a partner. Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to talk. We've worked on how do I initially deal with the attack, but that's the small part of the first part of this form, because the very first thing I want to do is deal with the attack and then lead that into some kind of counter. And the counter is going to be I'm going to choke him. So he gives me the attack. I come here, sweep it in front. Now whether I move him or I come around is irrelevant, but what I want to do is get to here, reach around, and choke him. And what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to put myself at this angle, because over here it's actually less of a choke. Not to say I can't make it sync up. I can, but there's a structural element of the way I've got this across. When I step here, just to be nice to my uke, when I step here, it causes this choke to tighten up. And I also get to extend his elbow across my center. So I'm doing a combination of choking and hyperextending the elbow. Which one does he tap from? It's kind of different in different situations, and depending on your depending on your partner and how you communicate. But when I go to do this, the idea is I'm actually going to step back a little bit, and I'm really prepared to stop immediately, because the choke sinks up fast, and the lock sinks up fast. You're getting both. We get the most bang for our buck. So again, we're here. So we're here. Here, I lead it down, he's kind of halfway there. So, from a realistic standpoint, I've either got to travel around him or I have to make him travel further. I reach around here, we'll do it from the other side again. I reach around here, grab that, across his throat, grab for a lapel, then I step to this corner. I'm actually going to step back to sync up. Okay? Innocence. So here, I pass, I have to pull him further, make him take a step. Reach across to right there, and then I'm stepping towards the wrist I've got, and back. pulling across your center. As I said, in practice, sometimes you get the arm lock is just super tight, and so they're going to tap from that long before you actually get your choke. That one, we were sort of loose on the arm. He tapped from the choke. Doesn't really matter which one they're tapping from. The point is you've got two options, right? But the structural, part of this, when I'm here, I'm actually going to sync it up, but there's a structural element that makes this happen when I step back, right? I'm pulling down on this, but it makes this sync and this sync. I can do it with my arms right here, but it's longer. I can also push out my chest. There are other things I can do to make this and this sync up, but those take longer. What we really want to do to make it happen fast is to pull on this as you actually step back. Bend him backwards, and it makes everything sync up. Now, as I said, in practice, exactly how, if you're trying to use this kind of movement for dealing with a real attack, what's actually going to happen is going to totally vary. Will I pull him in front of me if it were a real attack? I'm probably going to do more stepping around him. It just depends how far he goes to make up the difference. But the concept, where are we trying to get to and how do we utilize that is going to hold true in that situation. So, new partners. We're going to include the round punch. Do your stepping around, swing the arm in front, and then find your choke and arm bar. We're going to start like I already attacked. She's got me here. Right. So what do we do? Sorry, are we actually recording?
We are.
Okay, great. So one thing is, I feel her choking me here. She wants to step back. Does everybody agree that me trying to pull this up here is not actually going to work? The point of this is there's leverage. That's why we want this. But it doesn't matter how much bigger or stronger they are than you, they can't stop you from bringing this close to your center. I probably should have done this with a bigger guy. Just been like, here we go. So, doesn't matter. I never get to say it. See, when I'm way bigger than they are. All right. So, doesn't matter how much bigger or stronger, but they can't stop you from bringing it towards your center. All right. So what we're going to do is, as they go to execute, as they go to do this step back, bring the hand towards your center, and then step your hips towards this corner. And as you step your hips, bring it up. Again, close to your body. If she tries to swing it up here, I've got all the leverage. If she brings it to her hip first, and then brings it up right up close to her body, I do not have leverage to stop that. But let's be clear, if she does all of that, she can bring it close to her body, but if she does all of that without stepping, go ahead, I'm still going to choke her. So you have to step to this corner. Alright, so again, I'm right here, I'm executing. And you want to think, before I've fully, this is not the time to start your reversal. The time to start your reversal is, I come to this position and I start to step back, close to her body, and then she continues stepping to that corner, and you feed the hand to your inside one to execute a Sankyo, or center lock, or vertical wrist crank, whatever you call it. And that's where we're coming with this. But it's really important. I can't do this. If somebody's got me locked out, I can't really do things right here. I can get some traction by just stepping, because I'm bringing it close to my body. I get more traction by bringing it close to my body before I step. Now all this should happen fairly fast. She's trying to choke me. I don't want to actually sit here for a really long time. However, since we're working on the principles, we're working on the techniques, and it's for a form, don't rush right now. Right? Think about, they're in the position, you can feel they're starting to execute, right? Ask your partner to hold right there, and then bring it here and step, bring it up. You can speed it up later after you've got it smooth. Everybody understand? Alright, new partners. Thank you. So, you're going to put me in the choke. Same way we just did. Oh, you're on that side. Alright, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Alright, when I get here, right? Yes, I like that I can cause her pain right here. That's important. But what I really want is her balance. So I'm not going to stop here, because as we all know, if you hang out in Sankyo long enough, they can find ways to get their balance back and break it. Right? So what I'm really going to do once I'm here is look straight up. I'm going to come straight up, and I'm going to cast forward. I'm trying to throw them. Now let's be clear. She's flat-footed. Her heels are on the ground. Right? even if I'm hurting her, when I go to throw, I get nothing. So we're pushing up, and that up should have an inward rotation, right? And the point of the inward rotation is to put them on, one, it keeps them from, the upward angle with inward rotation keeps them from turning out. Sorry, so if I just turn and bring this low, she can actually turn into me and hit you with that elbow. I don't like that. So think about putting the palm in the armpit. There's not room to turn then. You have to adjust that based on height. When they're taller than you, you have to do a little more angle towards the armpit, right? But I can do this, it doesn't matter the height differential. Bend your knees. I can get enough upward by pushing up on my knees even when I'm way shorter than they are. So it's not actually about who's taller or how high I can get this. It is about that upward angle. Now, with your partner, and we got to be nice to our partners. We want them to be able to keep working with us, so I'm going to say, please let me put you on your toes for right now, because that's how I'm going to work on the next part. So she's on her toes. Now I'm going to step forward and cast. You should be able to get a throw out of it. All right? Key thing here is, I need tension on this to remain. So she's on her toes. If I do this, the tension is totally perfect. Right? Can I find ways to get it back? Sure, but that's not the point. If I want them to fall, I need to keep tension on that arm. I need them to think about, you know, I'm really trying to get away from this pain somehow, right? So, they're on their toes. Again, being nice, I feel the tap, I'm not going to break it hard. Think about trying to keep this vertical. Cut like a sword. Right? That gives you the right dynamic. One hand, bottom, the inside hand should be on their hand. The higher one is supporting the forearm. So I've got them up, and now I'm going to step forward to the inside, cut down. You got to think from the person getting thrown's perspective, it should feel like, oh, I'm here, and then your shoulders get tipped forward, and that's why you lose your balance. Sir.
As you step in, their arm is coming up slightly. How do you prevent them from dropping their
Well, that's a good question. So it's a matter of degrees, right? If I go to do this, not only do I not have tension, but her natural inclination is drop the elbow. So what I think about, I try and think about vertical as best I can, and I'm twisting in, right? We're being nice to each other right now, but as I cut forward, I'm continuing to twist inward. All right, so we're here, I think up, notice I'm pointing it sort of forward. As I go to step.
And that time you stay completely vertical. Okay.
So in practice, let's be clear here. In practice, I don't get it to stay completely vertical all the time because we're in motion. And also, there's a limit to how much pressure you can put on somebody and still have them want to work with you. Okay?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
You're clutching your elbow, so I have to ask these things.
It's a reflex.
But, if I'm doing it on somebody who I really, is truly a threat, at that point I'm going to crank super hard as I do that. I'm going to try and keep it as vertical as possible. It's kind of degrees. The more I can keep it from going horizontal or edging out, the more control I have. Questions? Okay, I think, based on space, I think we're going to do 3 groups. One here, and one in the back room, because we have the back room now. And the reason we're doing groups is just, again, the space of we're casting, everybody needs room to fall. The fall out of this ought to be just a French shoulder roll. If I hold on to her, it turns into you need a side break fall at the end. So there's a little bit of, my inclination self-defense-wise is you always get rid of them so you can deal with whoever's coming at you next, so I like that. But if you want the practice of hold on to them so you can hurt them, or you can hold on to their wrist and then come kick them in the ribs or something. All right? 3 groups, let's go.
Oh, that's true.
The thing about Sankyo, there's a bunch of ways. The thing about our vertical, sorry, are we actually recording? The thing about our vertical wrist crank, center lock, Sankyo, whatever you want to call it, Yukichi guy is another name for it. There are a bunch of ways to reverse this. So we have a lot of here are ways you can be meaner to keep them from reversing it, but this is a reversal form we're working on. So we're explicitly going to work on on reversing this when he goes to throw me. He starts to step forward, I see it coming, and I go, okay, and I drive down. Inside foot. Now, for the purpose of when we're doing the official form, you're trying to cast with the inside foot, but this works regardless of which foot they're stepping with. All right? When he does, I'm going to drive down and over here and feed. All right? And then I'm going to bring this foot up You could keep this position, but I like kind of feet underneath me. And then I'm doing, I'm locking out his elbow. So I call this a hijikadaki, which means elbow crush, but some people think of it as a waki-gatami. I think waki, just you have to bring it up way too high. Think about clenching between the elbow and your ribs, and that's your stop point. His pinky's pointed up, and then I pull from here, and I hyperextend that elbow. All right? So right here. Now, again, Sankyo. He goes to cast. I see it coming, so I step ahead of him, feed it over here, and then I get my Ichikadaki. Worth noting, I said the point of reversals is you always want to start your reversal before the technique is completely on, right? He goes to cast. If I'm here, I'm probably not going to get him. If I'm halfway into my fall, if I'm halfway into being thrown, me reversing that's not really viable. I might try anyway, but just this works because I see it coming. Oh, he's trying to throw me. And I'm trying to take a bigger step if possible. I don't always get the bigger step, but that's the goal. Feed it over right here. This leg comes up. Ichikadaki. Questions? All right. Change up your partners. Yep. All right, guys. He starts to cast. I come down right here. Now, before I get to a full cranking down, because if I'm right here, I'm not going to do this to him because his shoulders bug him already. But if I'm right here and I'm really trying to deal with him, I'm not just going to sync this up and stop at a tap. I'm going to come right here, I'm going to kick my legs up, and I'm going to drop my weight right there, and his shoulder's going to be on the mat, and he's going to be screaming in lots of pain. Let's not test that out just right here. But we can all agree that our ability to drive down on this is pretty significant. So once I get this completely locked out, this is a hard sell. And not only is it a hard sell, but very shortly it's going to escalate. So this is not, when you're already driving towards the mat, that's not the time to try and reverse this. The time to try and reverse this is we come over, I step, I'm right here, and I'm about right here. Now what he's going to do, we call it teacupping. But the idea is you want to take your palm, turn it up, pretend like you have a cup of water in your hand. And then you're going to circle it towards you before I get totally synced up. Now, about right here, he's broken, once this gets to about right there, I'm not going to get the lock back. He's then going to step around in front of me, push up on my elbow, and continue around. Alright? So you'll notice we're now kind of in a similar position, even though he's not exactly in a hijikadaki, but same kind of thing, right? This teacup, pretend like you're holding something in your hand, and you're not going to spill it. Just bring it towards your center. What that does is it gives you a little more leverage to pull towards your center. If I just try and do this, I don't have the leverage. If I push up against it, I don't have the leverage. But coiling towards your center, you do. Under the elbow, and continue around to right here. So we're effectively doing an ikyo. It's rolling the shoulder in that process. Right here, he goes to cast. Drive down, I get about right here, he goes ahead and starts that teacup motion. Alright? Now we can work this slow. It shouldn't be rushed. It absolutely should not be rushed. But the thing that we're looking for on timing is as your partner comes in to execute that hijikadaki, comes to execute that elbow crush, before it's fully synced, go ahead and turn your palm up and start coiling towards you. Even at this angle, just a little bit in, they can't execute the elbow crush. Right? So it doesn't have to be super fast, right? He's elbow crush. Right, he's right here. I've already broken that, so I may do this early, but I'm still not rushing through the second part. And also the tendency to rush on pulling towards you, if you just go like this, then you sort of get this weird, I'm contorted up, and I don't like how that feels. And they exploit that because then stuff like that. They should exploit that. That's okay. So everybody, with change up your partners, not necessarily new, you can work with somebody you've already worked with, but back with your partners, start at that elbow crush position, and start with, you're not fully executed. So we're kind of in a static place just before it fully sinks in. And then the person who's having executed on practice thinking about holding a cup of water, coiling it towards you. Step around in front of them, find that shoulder roll. Alright, thank you, sir. Find a partner. Next move, right, he was here. So I come right here, I've got him right here. He's going to do the same teacup motion. Notice my arm's not in the same place. But instead of just doing the same thing over, he's actually going to extend this leg behind, and he's doing kind of a torso reversal. He's trying to shove me off. So he's going to bring it towards him, and if I let him, he'll bring me right there. Right? So you still, the first part's the same. You're going to do that teacup motion to take back control of your arm, bring it towards your center. But then think, extend up, stick this leg behind. Now notice, right? We're here, his knees are bent, but as he goes to do this, he puts all his weight on the outside foot so he can extend this one behind. This one has no weight on it, or has a tiny bit of weight on it, but all the weight's over there, so potential energy is on this side. So then as he goes to extend over, he has all that room to shift. Now we're going to go ahead, as we work this, we're going to go ahead and reverse it. The thing, again, if he comes all the way through, he's going to throw me. I'm not going to reverse this when I'm, my balance all the way back and I'm flailing. So we're here, he sticks his leg behind, he starts doing this, I'm like, oh, I know what's coming, so I can step around. I only get to do that because I know exactly where he's going. And that's important. And when I come right here, I'm then going to pull into sort of a cat stance, push guard up, because I'm going to hit him next. Alright, new partners, work that. Alright, so the thing is, we came out of this with, she tried to throw me and I came back here, I'm going to put my guard up. I'm going to swing at her and she's going to Shihonage me. Alright, so, right here, and she wants to throw me! We're going to reverse that. So, swing, they go to put you in Shihonage. The thing about Shihonage is, if she doesn't bend me backwards, or if she bends backwards, then it doesn't work. Right? If I'm right here, and she comes under, if I'm well balanced, then I just kind of look at her like, what are you doing? And then I choke. Right? That she has to bend me backwards. Right? We're here. When she starts to come over, I'm going, oh, she's doing Shihonage. If I shoot this straight up, because I know what she's doing, then I get to turn out. Right? Some people naturally turn out. Some people you have to work really hard to keep them from turning out. And sometimes the way people are doing Shihonage, you can find a way to turn out without it. This is, she's got a really good Shihonage, but I see it coming. And so I generate that space by pushing straight up. We're here, she's coming over, I go, oh, I know what's coming, and then I turn right here. And when I get here, I just drop it in the crook of my elbow and I get a 10-pin. So think about, again, everything is, I know what's coming, I see it coming, I know how to reverse that. If I wait, here, I'm not going to reverse it, I'm getting thrown. Or my shoulder's coming apart, other bad things, right? You reverse it before they're actually fully executed. Questions? Sir? Yes. Up. Then continue your turn. Drop it right here. Again, you will find some people, you naturally have that much space and you don't have to give it a big up. But it's also hard to know that somebody's trying to Shihonage you. How do you know if not enough space or not? Shoot that arm up, and you get there. Okay, new partners. I'm going to remind you again, the time to reverse this is not when he's got all of my body weight on my elbow. That's bad. I'm going to hurt my elbow, right? There are things that can be effective with sort of, he's putting pressure, and I kind of drop. They are hit and miss. So I'd say if you are like in the bad situation and you feel like, I got to try something. But the official thing we're doing before, I feel him going for it, but before we're fully synced up, I'm going to kind of jump over the lock. Because he needs my shoulders back to put the weight on my elbow. Right? So as he's coming up, I'm going to jump over, and as I do, I'm going to try and turn around and put this hand on this, because now he doesn't have a lock. Alright, so again, he starts executing, and I go like that. It should have a very distinct up to it. going to feel a little like you're high stepping, which sometimes seems silly, but that's the thing. We got to get over the lock. If he's fully executed, I'm probably not getting over the lock. If he's halfway into it, I've got time there. Here. Once I'm here, this hand's going to come free and drive it straight up, and I'm going to go for an Oriminage. Alright, so I get to right here, hands right here, this comes up, Oriminage. So here. Start right here, here, right there. It's going to come straight up. I'm going to walk it in, and this is going to come small back, come against the chin, and remember, we want to push the chin up, and then back, and then down. And that's our throw. So you reverse the chin bend by stepping over and pushing down, and this arm comes up under the chin. Now, if I want to do something other than Oriminage when I get here, if I want to grab it and crank hard on it, if I want to do Kubi Toshi, if I want to, you know, if I just want to twist the neck, if I want to do all that's fine. Once we reverse the lock, you kind of got this position, and then you can use that however you see fit. Maybe you want to pass the arm, step around behind, and do a Kmart throw or something. But what we're doing right now is, well, we all love Kmart throw. What we're doing right now is break the tin bend, step around to the front, and then come underneath for that Oriminage. Okay. So now we're going to reverse the Oriminage. I start coming in, right? So she's coming up right here. The time to do this is not when I'm already falling, right? But I see this is coming because I feel myself start to get tipped back. So as she's coming in, and then I'm just going to grab right here. I'm not pulling down. I'm grabbing it right here, and then I'm going to turn out underneath. Right. So as she comes up, I'm going to come right here, pull, and then I stick my arm in for a chicken wing. Maybe your shoulders are bugging them, go light on this. Okay? So you got to think, if she starts to come up and in, I have to see this before I'm all the way back. I'm not going to pull it off there. And likewise, if this turns into, if she comes in and gets super tight, if she's not thinking about throwing me, but rather just, getting into sort of a choke position, I have to think about doing it differently. I have to do it before the choke sinks up. So when she starts coming, you can do this as she's coming for a choke. Right? I can still get here, but I had to do it before. Right now, I got to do something else. Right? It's got to be before it gets to a full sink. I can still come in and use this as long as I start moving. When she starts coming up, oh, I see what's coming. Let me drive underneath. So again, here, think like you're just gluing it to your chest. Right? Glue it to your collarbone. That's all. I'm not pulling down. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm not trying to create space. I'm just, it's against me, and then when my body moves here, it comes with me. Turn out, and then pull back underneath. Stick this arm in, get your chicken. All right, partners. It's worth acknowledging, we're good. It's worth acknowledging that there are some variations on ways to perform this. Right? But we're going to start, she's got me in the chicken wing. Right? We're actually going to do this the way I learned it. We're going to do this the way I first learned it, which is she's executing a chicken wing. I need to break this lock. Obviously, before she's got enough leverage to put my face on the mat, right? The way I'm going to break it is by shooting my hand up to her back corner. So I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to grab whatever I can get my hands on. Do a cross step so that I can pirouette and get this foot in front. And we're doing an Aiki version of Kataguruma. Right? Judo style, Kataguruma is it's fireman's carry. You put them on your shoulders, you stand up, you dump them off. This one is more about, it's worth us taking a minute to think about this, right? The version we're doing, I've got, however I get to my connection point, I'm going to put my foot here, pivot on this foot, pass over. Right? It's not, because she's not going anywhere. I'm swinging my hips, and that lets me project her back where she's coming from. Right? So that's the throw. that ends the form. The way we get there, the way we get there, we're gonna get out of this lock, shoot to the corner, grab whatever you can get. Right? I like it better if I get further up on the shoulder, but I don't actually stop and think about it. That's more like analysis after the fact. I gotta make room for me to do a full turn in front, so that's what this cross step is about. Put this here, swing down, and it's a front shoulder roll for Uru kick. Can I, do we have ways of maybe making it bigger? Sure, but generally speaking, just give me a front shoulder roll. One more time. Alright, shoot the corner, grab, I do a little cross step, making room, turn all the way around, down to a knee. And this needs to, think about as you're swinging that hip down to a knee, I need to be arcing this up and over and towards the mat the whole time. If I come all the way down to this knee and they're still up here and then I try and pull them, they're not going anywhere. It needs to be that turning and dropping that does the work of this. You have a question, sir?
Do you need to block your feet with your down leg?
Good question. I aim for that. I don't always get it, and I usually still get the throw. It is a good idea to swing like you're trying to hit this foot with that. And if you do catch it, it does help. So, not mandatory, but preferred. How about that? Other questions? All right, here's what I want everybody to do. Here again. We're actually going to start with, this is going to take the rest of our time, the rest of our official scheduled time. Start with foot in front of there is crosswise, hook at the hand. This is not the way we do it in the form, but everybody's going to practice this version of the throw first. All right, swing it around and know that they're going to fall where they came from. There's a reason I didn't get it down. I know where you're falling. But we're going to practice just getting the sense, because it's a rhythm of a throw that we don't usually do. In fact, there are often throws that we do that feel similar, but take you away from where you need to go for this. So we're going to just a couple of times come right here, and we're constructing the situation. Put my hand there, hook, put your foot in front of theirs crosswise. The step is swing down, take the arm with you, and pass down. All right, everybody. So let's do. Everybody do the throw isolated once, and then see if you can find it out of the form where you've got the chicken wing first, and then you're going to shoot your hand up, grab, and find the position. All right, perfect. So first of all, I do like to present this as a formal form. So usually we're doing like a bow on the mat, bow to the testing board, here, bow to the testing board, bow to each other, and then we take like one step close. We'll both take a step towards each other. Then one person is your attacker. Comes up, grabs both lapels, puts it into one hand, steps out that way, and Yoko Minucci to the face. I'm going to blend with it and lead right here. Now, it's form, we're working together. She's going to let herself, and I'm going to turn back to face that way. I'm going to pull her to face that way as well. The person who is getting choked, let yourself go, let yourself go to there because it's part of the form. As we talked about earlier, realistically, I'm going to go to wherever I need to get the choke. Reach around, and then I'm going to start to step back. As I step back, she brings the hand close to her hip, passes it over for Sankyo. At Sankyo, put them on their toes. Now she's going to take 3 steps back with the right foot, and I'm going to fly. She's taking me with her. That's to make space, because ideally she'd like to throw me. She goes to cast. I step forward and pull for my Ichikadaki, and I bring this foot forward. Right? Now, from her, she does her little teacup motion, steps directly in front of me, so our hips are still on the same parallel, continues around, rolls the shoulder. I'm going to do my teacup, this behind, shifts, steps out. There we go, so we're on camera. Alright, now she goes to take her Yoko Minucci strike at me. I reach in, swing it in front. Go to do my Shiva Nage. She lifts up, turns out, drops it in for Tenbei. I go, okay, around, push down, up here, turns out, this time goes to execute her chicken. Shoot this hand up and back, cross step, Okay, one of the things you may notice when we are executing this, back over here please. When we are executing this, most of the form, we try and stay on these parallels. It's not a perfect part of it, but that's a way that we make it look a little more formal, right? So, think about this again. She starts. Our hips are on these parallels. Go ahead. So when I bring her here, it's not that we don't turn, it's that we try and come back to this spot. All right, step back. Back to parallel. She goes to teacup. Same lines. Right. Again, our transitions come off, right? But I step across here, put the turn out, go back to this position. This comes undone when we get to our chicken wing. This should be, the end position on the chicken wing should be that she's on that parallel we started on and I'm kind of at a 45 because that's where this happens. Alright? Shoot to back corner, grab, and then you kind of throw them here as well. Usually you don't throw right back up like that. I mean, we could change our position, I suppose. Have room to throw. Alright, so that's the style that I learned coming out about how we do this. It is worth acknowledging that there are some other styles who do this form, who do not do this dynamic with the parallels, and who do the Kata with a full kind of judo version, right? Just different stylistically, but that's the dynamic that we work on. Sir?
Can you show us the technique so after she's been thrown?
Yeah, we are just kind of standing up, aren't we? All right. So, good point. Here, room now. Shoot back here. Actually, we should come back to our original position. Should we? Yes. So it should be we throw her, we stand up, come over here, bow to each other, and whenever we're performing for, we bow to the test. And then if you're doing the on the mat, bowing.
One more time from the
Yes. That's the testing board. And stand up.
Thanks.
Of course. And that puts us at about 5 over, which is where I want us to be. So that's all the time we have. More than the time we have. So with that, everybody line up.
Thanks.